It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
They had a tire tax back in 2017. The Republicans passed it along with the Democrats to protect you from mosquitoes because tires hold water. Well, now that they had that tax increase, now they get to regulate. They're using the money to now regulate the tires. And here to talk about that is Sonny's Auto Salvage owner, who is Arkansas Patriot. Mr. R.D. Hopper is on the line. R.D., thanks for coming on, sir.
Hey, glad to. Always enjoy your show, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So have you been following these latest developments? I got two articles here from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. What are your thoughts on all this?
Very predictable. This is a large government high-tax program in order to get the state of Arkansas in the tire business and do it in an efficient manner. You know, I call it Arkansas Tire Care, and this Arkansas Tire Care program is spinning out of control already. Imagine, you know, I'm in the auto recycling business and in the tracking business, so pretty easy to predict.
Gosh. So as I'm reading here, there's now a proposal that they're considering to increase oversight and reduce dumps. So it seems like the state is trying to regulate where tires are stored, and they don't want them in landfills anymore, or that sort of thing. Is that how you view this proposal?
Well, that's the premise. The premise it goes on is they're going to make this a very efficient system by increasing oversight and regulation. And number two, reducing the accessibility to the consumer. But the heads of their own tire districts up there telling them that this is going to make tire dumping. You know, me and John Payton told them before this came out of committee, you're about to increase the number of tires in our community and make a bigger problem by passing this bill. And, of course, you know, we're just uneducated small business owners, so we really didn't know what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yes, that's what it says. We want to increase oversight to make it more efficient and reduce the number of places you can drop tires. And yes, this was all done on the premises of not putting any more tires in landfill, and I guess it would make Arkansas a leader. You know, they hurt absolutely nothing, but I don't know.
You think somebody's going to get a government contract to manage all this, or do you think they're eventually going to go private with these regulations?
Well, no, it really looks like right now it's all about more state jobs to reduce the unemployment in the state of Arkansas, the best I can tell. There may be federal grant money that's coming into the state that we're not hearing about tied to this. I don't know if the motivation is the federal grant money or ADEQ just thinks they need another 150 employees, or, you know, but they've cut the number of places, districts to take tires in Arkansas. I believe it was from 10 to 12, and this bill takes it down to 5, where there's only 5 tire districts. And currently they have unmanned stations where people can just go by and drop off tires. But this system also creates an electronic tracking system where everybody that handles tires has to have a certified employee to handle the certified website to track every used tire in the state of Arkansas. So it's also something, it kills small businesses, because the small businesses that don't get a state tracking number and have a computer and have a certified by the state of employee person to run it and have a certified equipment to haul it with a state sticker on it, it's going to put a lot of small tire shops out of business. So more state employees, more taxes, and put small businesses out of business. It sounds like a government program to me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're talking with R.D. Hopper. He's owner of Sonny's Auto Salvage, and that's out of Jacksonville. R.D., you know, as I'm reading these stories here, that, you know, this is getting some press about the coming regulations. I'm thinking about the rural environment. So is this going to make counties, for example, they have, like you said, these unmanned drop-off points, but it seems like the state is going to want those to be now staffed. So who staffs that? Who staffs that? Do these counties have to staff that?
Well, the district. See, these districts, by this 2017 Act 317, these districts, these 5 districts that they've cut it down to, they have to submit a business plan to the ADEQ. This is a state agency, all except one. One of them's private. This is, by and large, state agencies that have to run an efficient business, that have to be profitable, and then turn their profitable business plan into ADEQ. And ADEQ will look at the amount of electricity they use, the number of tires they process, and the cost per tire to process it in their district. So what they're trying to make is get Arkansas in the tire business and make it profitable. And so know that these districts have to submit a plan to tell how they're doing, much like you'd have to submit a business plan to a bank to get a loan. And I think the original bill said they had to be inspected weekly. And one thing that these tire districts are asking for, hey, these tire districts are asking, I thought it's real good in these plans, they're asking for less regulation and less oversight. And they say that some of these regulations in 137 are too costly and unnecessary. So, boy, it almost sounds like the tire districts or the small businesses down there pleading with the state associations, but it's just
more freedom.
It's almost comical that it's the state districts down there pleading against another state agency to quit trying to make doing their job more expensive.
The White River District, this is reporting from the Gazette, the White River District also argued that the tire sites should not be required to have stormwater permits because tires are designed to be out in the weather and, quote, water touching waste tires is not an environmental hazard. The Gazette reports that the department responded by saying that water accumulations in trailers or containers of tires could create a breeding ground for vector-type diseases. So they're still sticking with this public safety angle that they've got to do this, RD, to save us from mosquitoes.
Yeah, what they're saying now, exactly right. Of course, me and John Payton told them this same thing before it came out of committee to go to front of the House and the Senate. That's exactly. I really love to hear a state agency repeating common sense. So basically, yes, the White River District manager tells them, yeah, it can rain on the tires just like raining on plastic. It doesn't contaminate anything. But it also says in that article that the ADEQ person said that tire collection agencies are often collects mosquitoes and creates a breeding ground. That's what they were trying not to do. So the state is going around all these counties and pulling all the tires in one place. But, you know, they really need to build the facilities indoors to keep them out of the rain. And they really need a computer system set in there so they can track them all in the computer system so they're not missing any money on their taxes. So they need indoor facilities for all their trailers. They need a state-certified employee with a computer standing at the door so when all the tires come in, you can track them in. And
what a joke.
What they're making things worse is what they're doing. They're making things worse, and that's exactly what me and John Payton tried to tell them, that you're about to make things worse. You know, I cut my tires, Paul. As soon as I get a tire that comes off of a car that's not resellable, I cut it. I cut it in 4 pieces. When I cut it in 4 pieces, it's harmless. They could cut these tires in 4 pieces in all the counties and throw them in a landfill. They would hurt nothing, but it would not reduce, you know, the unemployment rate in Arkansas, and may not get us to any federal grant money. I really don't know what the real motivation is.
But what is a stormwater permit? What is that? So you got to have a stormwater permit. What is it?
Yeah, I have a stormwater permit. Yeah, all businesses in Arkansas, or just about any business, has to have a stormwater permit. it's we I have a permit. I collect water twice a year. I send the water into the state to have it inspected by the state, and I have a best practices. And the permit has the best practices. It says that I'm going to, suck all my freon out, drain all the oil out of the cars. It tells how many hard surfaces you've got on your property and how much grass you've got. So it's like a water runoff. And so, yeah, most all businesses, gas stations have to have a water permit. But, they're expensive. You have to pay an engineer to come in and help you do it. Then it has to be updated on a regular basis. So you've got a state agency that's trying to get out from under doing something that all the businesses in Arkansas are already taxed to do currently.
Wow. And yeah, they're trying to say we don't want to have to have a stormwater permit because tires
and they're right.
are designed.
They don't need one.
I know, yeah, because tires are made of rubber and water doesn't hurt anything. So
yeah, just like the plastic cup you drink out of, it hurts nothing. You could have a rubber drinking cup. It would be just fine. Rubber, it doesn't emit anything into the water. So the White River District. They're exactly right. It doesn't, but they don't need one. But hey, common sense need has nothing to do with state government.
This is a big deal. I think we're basically reaping what was sowed. They've been collecting the tax, and now here comes the regulations. Like you said, I mean, do you think? I mean, I hope that they weren't listening just now, RD, about building like actual buildings to keep the tires, like these giant Indiana Jones style warehouses where we're just going to have tires from floor to ceiling. I mean, I'd rather us build some more prisons than have to build those types of facilities.
Yeah, we need them to protect us from mosquitoes, but they're making a problem that really through negligence. There was a few tire dumps in the state of Arkansas, but it was another way to form a new agency. But in the same article, Paul, the gentleman from Pulaski County said, the only way to implement this efficiently is to bring in private businesses and contractors but hey, I travel around to other states. I go to other states to the recycling conventions, and many states have private businesses handling the used tires and doing it profitably. And these poor guys, like I think of the poor people up there in Clarksville that's getting put in jail because they can't run efficient government or getting arrested. They went and bought some tire cutting machines and was going to try to make a sellable product out of it to make it viable. So they took state money, and I think that's what all of them was going to do. But after they spent all the money on the equipment and gathered up, 1 million tires, they couldn't find a market for it. So now the state has 600,000 tires and no market to sell them in.
It says this is just ridiculous, but yeah, you're on your point on the Pulaski. It says the Regional Recycling and Waste Reduction District in Pulaski County requested that nonprofit corporations in Arkansas whose mission are dedicated to recycling-related programs should be eligible to receive incentive grants. So there you go. I mean, that's where it's going. Is somebody's going to get rich on managing this mess that they've created. That's what's going to happen.
Exactly. And the sad thing in this tax, I've said at the beginning, this is a tire removal tax and an installation fee, and they're getting part of it right now, but they're not getting all of it. It taxes people that have to buy used tires or people that can't afford a new set of tires to last them 4 or 5 years. This tax hits the poorest people in the state. It hits college students and minimum wage people that are trying to get back and forth to work. If somebody buys a set of tires, a new set of Michelins that lasts them 4 or 5 years, they're not going to pay this tax very often. But all this government agency and all these new employees, $70,000 a year jobs, are being supported by the poorest people in the state. And
that's sad.
And it's putting out of business the smallest businesses in the state. They can't buy computers and comply with it. So, big business and government's got to love it. But this bill really hits the people that can take it the least.
R.D. Hopper, I appreciate it, owner of Sonny's Auto Salvage. Be safe, sir. Have a great Independence Day.
All right. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Yes,
Paul.
sir. I want to remind everybody that the Republican Party of Arkansas, they have a supermajority in the House of Representatives out of 100 members. And out of 35 members in the Senate, they have almost a supermajority in the upper chamber. And we're talking about regulating tires from the cradle to the grave. Back in just a moment.